Hello again, and welcome to episode number 6 of Business Events Decoded. We have a wonderful guest today on our show. He was all of 22 when he took the plunge in the rough and tumble of running the business. Fired with a zeal and passion for succeeding, he started an inbound division in Bandula Travel. His vision was to give enthusiastic travelers a quality holiday worth their while as well as worth their money. Under his leadership, Red Apple Travel has won several international awards, thus making its mark in the subcontinent's largest cities. Setting international benchmarks and high standards of efficiency and reliability, his vision is to make Red Apple Travel one of the largest DMCs in the world with the best services matching global standards. From just 15,000 then, today, Red Apple Travel handles 350,000 travelers annually, with the number steadily increasing. Please welcome our guest for this episode, Group MD of Red Apple Group, Mr. Suneet Goenka.
Thank you
Suneet,
so
welcome
much.
to Business Events Decoded. How have you been?
Very, very well, Sushil. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be on the show today.
Thank you so much. I want to know about your journey into the industry. I touched upon very brief notes of how you entered, but over to you to tell us about how you got into the whole industry of travel, business events, MICE, everything.
So, Sushil, I was fresh in university doing my dissertation in Sheffield in UK. And as a part of my dissertation, I had to create a business model which would be unique to the travel business. So that's when I realized that the best business to be in the travel business would be a DMC business. It was low risk, a wider potential to grow. And that's when Red Apple Travel actually was created. Obviously, I was far too young, 21 years of age, when the business. Soon after my MBA, I went back to the family business. My father had a small travel company in Myanmar where he was a GSA for Air India. Obviously,
Okay.
no inbound happening there. It was just a hardcore GSA because being from a business family, it was just a small division that we had created. Obviously, that was where the buds created for me to get set up on my path of Red Apple Travel. So it was just then I started an incoming business in Myanmar. I was, started contracting hotels, started contracting suppliers, and reached Bombay to do a first round of sales and marketing. And that's when I stumbled upon Ursula Kerker, Cox and Kings.
Okay.
I was very blessed because it was a great timing wherein she was having a small group of affluent women going to Burma, and she was looking for a good DMC to service herself. And she believed in me, and she gave me that first piece of business from India. And that was the starting point for us as Red Apple Travel. And we handled those groups. She in turn then exposed me to her business from India, from UK, and pretty much for the first 7 months of my career, I was just focusing on Cox and Kings being the only customer I had.
Wow.
Thereafter, obviously, we understood the DMC business better. We understood the potential the world had to give tourism. And we then started marketing ourselves to other companies in India. And we realized that, hey, there's a life beyond Cox and Kings and SOTCs and Thomas Cooks.
Yeah.
And that's where Red Apple Travel was created, and we went on this wonderful journey.
And suppose which year was this in?
Exactly 19 years back, Sushil.
Wow.
Exactly
So 19 years back, starting from Burma, from Myanmar.
That's right, from Myanmar.
Okay.
And obviously, I mean, as we developed further, we realized that there is a lot of potential across the world.
Yeah.
And it's Ursula's idea. She said, Suneet, you're a young kid, why don't you look at Sri Lanka? And I said, Ursula, I don't have anything in Sri Lanka. Give me a break. I don't know Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, listen, I give you my word. Set up a DMC there, and Cox and Kings business is yours.
Wow.
And that's when I landed up in Sri Lanka, not knowing anyone, stood at the Bandaranaike airport for 2 days, just looking at who was picking up, who was transferring tourists, started doing some research, and then set up a small company in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And true to her word, Ursula then started giving me business from India.
Wow.
So the first real tourism we did in terms of numbers was actually Sri Lanka, exactly about 19 years back.
Wow.
And there was no looking back after that for us. Yes.
Okay. So after Sri Lanka, next stop was where?
Malaysia.
Okay.
So Malaysia again was an interesting story. Within 2 years, we started becoming a very relevant player in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Perhaps we were the first foreign-owned Indian DMC to have set soil outside India. Because if you remember, 19 years back, they were typically Sri Lankan operators only, owned by Sri Lankans, and
That's true.
a concept of a foreign-owned DMC never existed.
Correct.
So I still remember the conversation I was having with her and a gentleman today who is a very dear friend who heads Thomas Cook's leisure business, Rajiv Kale.
Okay.
They were talking about Malaysia, and they said, you know what, Suneet, Malaysia has great opportunity. You get a room in Genting for $11, and we are doing like 15,000 passengers to Malaysia. I said, wow, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Being a Marwadi that I am, I said, okay, chalo, Malaysia chalte hain abhi. Let's see if we can reinvent Malaysia. That's what we did. We went back to Malaysia. We started doing some R&D. We set up a small company in KL about 17 years back, and that was the next stop. Thereafter, we opened up Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Dubai, Egypt, Europe, and then Australia. So that's been our journey over the last 19 years.
So how many countries in 19 years effectively as of today?
So we have globally right now 19 offices,
Wow.
Sushil. So it's been almost an office a year. Obviously, we're marking 2020, which is a memory we all want to erase from our...
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. 19 offices.
It's a very good thing, not just 19 offices, 19 countries in 19 years.
Yes. So we service a few more countries because Europe, we have just 4 offices. Sushil, we have an office in London, in Paris, in Spain, and in Greece. But we service all of Europe. So obviously, in terms of servicing countries, it's far more. But yes.
Yeah. And obviously, you started with a whole lot of leisure groups. So when did MICE happen for you?
So Sushil, in fact, we started with MICE on the year 1 itself because those days Sri Lanka was a very strong MICE destination.
Okay.
And I was, in fact, as I said, I was very blessed to have a friend and a mentor like Ursula. I mean, obviously, she's not in the best situation.
They're going through their own challenges today as a company.
Exactly. But as far as I'm concerned, I owe a lot of my growth to her individually because she trained me for MICE. I mean, she set me a whole team. She took a liking for me, or she saw a potential.
Yeah.
And she said, Suneet, I'll support you. I'll send you my team. They will handle the business. Learn.
Yeah.
And I was actually trained by the Cox and Kings team to actually handle MICE.
Wow.
That was 19 years back. So yes, to a large extent, we are what we are thanks to our customers, Sushil.
Okay. And what sectors, Suneet, have you been doing MICE groups for through all these companies, whether Cox and Kings or so many others? You have such a big, diverse client base today.
So, Sushil, obviously, right from pharmas to finance, to the banking industry, fintechs, tire companies. We've been doing a lot of work across industries.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a relevant MICE business, I'm sure we get a decent piece of that business thanks to our partners who are working from.
Yeah.
Other than that, Sushil, apart from India, we're very strong in the international markets. We have a fairly large presence in Hong Kong. We have a strong market coming out of Spain, coming out of the Middle East. So we have a lot of high-end MICE businesses from those regions. Okay,
wonderful. And what has been the average size of the MICE groups that Red Apple has been having?
Varies, Sushil. We've done MICE groups as small as 15 people going up to 3,000, 3,500 people at one time.
Wow. Yeah. And between the 19 offices, which have been the most popular destinations for MICE?
So obviously, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai have been, our offices that we've been known with.
Yeah.
Our biggest volume generator even today remains Europe, Sushil.
Yeah.
Almost 40% of our yearly turnover gets churned out of Europe.
Okay.
We're very strong in Europe with the leisure series business.
Okay.
MICE to a large extent, but limited to certain countries only, because I personally feel our bandwidth for Europe when it comes to MICE is not great in every country that Europe has to offer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Tell me, with COVID, what has been the impact? Because it's obviously had a huge impact on our industry worldwide, and it's made all companies in this industry consolidate, reduce size, strategize, put in pay cuts. So how have you managed a multi-country operation? And this would be great learning for company owners like me and many others who will watch this interview on how to manage, a challenge in situation like this.
So, Sushil, obviously, COVID is a situation that we're still dealing with, and we're still
Yes.
learning from it. I don't think we have a solution or a strategy that we've dealt with COVID. But
Correct.
the first thing that we did as a company, Sushil, was to realign our cost. That's
Yes.
the first thing that we did. Because we saw an impact of COVID right from January. Because we saw our business in Hong Kong getting affected first. Then after, we saw parts of Singapore, parts of Thailand, Malaysia getting impacted.
Yeah.
So we actually saw a fairly large hit in February itself. And we then realized that this is going to stay.
Yeah.
And the first thing we did was we cut all our marketing expenses. We said we are not going to get bullish with exhibitions and trade shows.
Yeah.
The second thing we did was we looked at excess staffing. We said, guys, we'll have to start realigning our costs.
Correct.
So, the third and the most important thing I think we did was we kept our vision to re-look and reinvent our business, because these 6 months gave us a lot of time to introspect into our business and realize that where we went wrong. I mean, as a company over the last 19 years, we were growing at 30% year to year on, Sushil.
Yeah.
So there was hardly a time for us to sit back, evaluate, understand the mistakes that we have made. So obviously, the best thing for us was to now look into our business model, look into how we can harness technology better, how we could reduce our fixed expenses, and start looking at more consolidation, more outsourcing as an option. Because we are globally a 350 people team.
Massive.
It's a massive team, yes.
And 19 countries, so you automatically know how things are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, COVID has been a learning experience and remains as one. But I only think the best way for any entrepreneur today in the tourism business is to relook at cost.
Yeah.
It's good to be optimistic, but let's be realistic. Business is not going to come back to the volumes we're used to.
Yeah.
2021, again, even if we touch a good 40-50% of what we did last year, we should be opening a bottle of champagne.
Yes, that's what I figured. So my next question was actually that based on your experience, your international exposure, what do you feel, when will our industry look at some sort of a bounce back?
So obviously, Sushil, first and foremost, the vaccine is the only solution to that question. First.
Yeah.
And I think what we shouldn't forget is COVID has brought with it a huge depletion of resources. An average middle class who was a target customer for a group tour business or a leisure business is not going to be traveling. He's going to go back and say, hey, I want to make money now. So I see that the only travel that will happen right now would be the high-end luxury business that's going to happen at a good cost.
Yes.
I don't see MICE business bouncing back in full volumes for at least the next 8 to 9 months. So to me, ideally, as I said before, if we achieve a good 40% of 2019, we should be thankful. And by 2022 is where I see at least 60-65% of our volumes for 2019.
Wow. So this is probably one of the most challenging periods for our industry worldwide, I guess.
Absolutely, Sushil. I mean, I think it's devastating to actually see that the people who've been with you for 15, 16 years, you're not able to support them in these toughest times. The best you could do for your team, for your suppliers, for your customers. I mean, we would love to extend longer credit periods. We would love to relax payment policies, but you just can't do it because there is just no scope for it anymore.
Tell me, Suneet, what would be your advice to other MICE agencies? Because a lot of MICE agencies are your client base as well as people. So what would be your advice to them on how to handle this situation and how to sort of try and come out of it?
Sushil, first and foremost, I think everyone, including us, should realize that we need to start learning to earn margins.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the Indian MICE business, if you get MICE globally, right, it's a high yield business.
Yeah.
Fortunately, in India, it's the lowest yield business. In fact, they pick up the business and as you rightly say in our terminology, work backwards.
Yes.
And work backwards basically means screw the supplier up, screw the vendor up, and that's it. So even if the corporate has a budget to give you, but we undercut ourselves and don't work on any margins. So the only advice I would give to any relevant player in MICE is, guys, earn monies. That's the only money that's going to save you in a situation like this. Second, product, Sushil. I think even today, unfortunately, the MICE business we do out of 90% of the trade work on a 2+2 gala dinner option, and that means put them in a dingy restaurant, give them a DJ, and 2 hours of free flow. it doesn't work anymore.
Correct.
These guys are happy for better experiences. There is an opportunity to upsell your products, improve experiences. And that's what you and me are here for. We're not here to just go a restaurant and give them pocket wave off. I mean, to me, I think the MICE business overall has to have a complete change in attitude.
Yes.
And that can happen more from the MICE operators themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, someone like you, Sushil, I look up to because you've built your business on product and high execution. And you've built a niche for yourself for that. And I think that's what a lot of travel agents or MICE operators must look at.
But the only challenging time that I foresee right now, that all the high value business events have been put on hold. And from the looks of it, I think at least till next June, there seems to be no sight of them looking at doing any high value MICE groups or events. And it's a matter of literally reinventing business, life, everything. So it's probably I'm viewing this as one of the most interesting challenges because I know we will overcome this, we will solve this, and we'll become so much more smarter and stronger that I think we'll be able to say, come on, anything else is welcome.
So we can't fight Mother Nature. We can't fight what's happening with us. We've got to learn to deal with it. But the only thing which we all can also look at is the opportunity the virtual world has brought to us. Look at Zoom today.
Yes.
I was talking to some friends who are based out of China and small boutique MICE operators.
Yeah.
And they said, Suneet, when I was doing a group, I was making $20 per person. I'm doing MICE events online, on Zoom. I'm still making the same amount of money. Yes, my turnovers have reduced, but my yield is still the same.
Yeah.
Yes, until then, we'll have to find innovation. We'll have to find opportunities and perhaps start pitching or building products to offer to our customers once MICE opens. MICE has to open.
You're based in Dubai.
That's right.
Dubai has obviously been one of the front runners in opening up business events and MICE, and apparently from 22nd October they are also opening weddings and social events with very obvious restrictions and safety precautions in place. So what would you say from the Dubai model other countries can also learn and start introducing and hopefully revive our industry globally?
So I think comparing Dubai to any other country or city across the globe will not be fair, because we have to understand Dubai has been always a city, or UAE as a country, which has had very stringent laws and tolerance to people not adhering to those laws. That would be very difficult for us to achieve in any other country. Number one, shouldn't forget that the average population here is an educated population.
Yes.
The average society that moves in is the upper class or the upper middle class.
Yes.
So obviously for them, it's easier to curtail something like this.
Yeah.
Second, also, I think a lot of credit goes, to Sheikh Hamdan, to Sheikh Mohammed, the way they have their vision towards making Dubai safe.
Yes.
The fact that they realized that while COVID could kill people, damaged economies would kill them even more. So that is very smart of the way Dubai reacted and opened its doors to save the economy and save people like you and me.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's a model which may not be very easily duplicated by other countries. At the same time, shutting doors, lockdowns may not be the solutions.
Because I can see Thailand, for example, has introduced a minimum 90-day trip to be there.
Exactly.
And 2 weeks of quarantine, which I believe has come down to 10 days.
So Sushil, I think right now a lot of countries want to open doors because obviously a country like Thailand or Singapore, which is primarily dependent on tourism, they don't have an option. But also there's fear from the people that they don't want Thailand doors to be open.
Yes.
At the same time, the other thing which we all must realize is, does that country have the economic or the physical capability to manage an outbreak?
Yeah.
Dubai was very quick. They built infrastructure, but not every economy across the world can build infrastructure. So I think a lot of people are taking time with lockdowns to build infrastructure and then open their gates.
Tell me, Suneet, what would be your advice to youngsters who are looking at making a career in the travel, tourism, business events industry, given the shadow of COVID on the world? What is your take, let's say, moving forward a year down the line, 1.5 years down the line? How do you see the industry bouncing back? And what would be your advice to the youngsters looking at making a future and career in this industry?
So I'm very biased here, Sushil. I think there is no better business than the travel business.
Yes.
It's given us where we are today. If we are
Yeah.
sitting today comfortably in our homes, is thanks to the tourism business.
Yes.
So yes, it's a business which is very volatile. It's a business which is extremely dependent on various factors. But it's also a business which has growth opportunities like no other. You work across countries, you work across worlds. And I always say this, the world is our playground. And that's the motto of Red Apple Travel. So there is no better paced business in the tourism business. Yes, these are challenging times, but they will be over soon. And it can happen in any business, right? So I think if you are looking at making a career on the travel business, the only thing that you need to keep in mind is customer service is not an attitude, it's your business. And as long as you have that in your mind, this is the best place to be in.
Suneet, as we come to the end of the show, any parting thoughts or parting closing words you'd like to share with the audience?
Sushil, all I would say is wish everyone loads and loads of good luck. Let them be safe. Let them practice social distancing. Respect the laws that are being enforced. And I'm very, very sure in a few months this will be behind us.
Thank you so much, Suneet, for joining us on the show. And I look forward to catching up again soon.
Absolutely, Sushil. I look forward to seeing you soon in Dubai.
Likewise. I'm just going to leave a closing note for our viewers as well. Thank you for watching, viewers, all the way to the end. I would request you all to kindly like and comment on this video and also share it on your social media platform. And please remember to subscribe our channel. And we'll come back to you soon enough with another wonderful guest just like Suneet and more insights and help you to do this whole business events decoding. Thank you so much.